What's up, gamers? You got TigerChainsaw. So if you know my history, you know that I love the Master System. But just because I loved Sega's 8-bit console didn't mean that that would translate to Sega's 16-bit console with the Genesis. In fact, I don't have a ton of experience with this console. I don't know why. I just never really sought it out. I didn't really have friends that had it. But my buddy Lame Dad actually gifted me a Sega Genesis not too long ago, and I am really excited to check out the library that comes with this potentially awesome console. Now that doesn't mean that I haven't played the Genesis at all. In fact, I've played a few games on it, and for my review today, I'm going to be reviewing one of those games. That game is Steel Empire. So I'm excited to share my thoughts with all of you about that today. Now, if this is your first time on my channel, or if you just haven't yet, make sure you hit that sub button because I've got tons of game reviews ranging, yes, from the Master System all the way up to the PS5. So go ahead and hit that sub button to help my channel grow and to catch all of those game reviews. All right, let's get into our plane and head to the skies for this Steel Empire review. Shooters were still very popular in the early 90s for the Sega Genesis, and in 1992, Hot B and Flying Edge teamed up and released Steel Empire for the Sega Genesis. The side-scrolling shooter was unique in a variety of ways that made it fly above the generic shooters that flooded the market. It's time to defend our homes with this Steel Empire review, starting with the plot, but be warned, spoilers are ahead. When you picture a shooter or shoot 'em up in your head, I'm sure that you imagine space with aliens or jet fighters with screaming missiles. Steel Empire took a much different but refreshing route with the setting. Set in the late 19th century, 1800s for those of you that have not graduated high school, this world is in an alternate reality of what Earth is. Empires rule the planet, and the largest one has taken control of the world, and that one is called Steel Empire. It's run by soldiers called Motorheads. These Motorheads have conquered most of the world except a small empire called the Republic of Silverhead. Now, the Silverheads have engineered a higher performing energy to power their airplanes. The Motorheads still rely on steam-powered planes, making them less powerful. The Motorheads have tracked down the last of the Silverheads in a small base in Antarctica. The player takes on the role of a Silverhead pilot who goes on 7 missions to defend, attack, and destroy the Steel Empire. The final fight takes place in space as the commander of the Motorheads has launched himself into orbit. After taking his ship down, the world is again free from the grip of the Steel Empire. It's a fairly unique plot with a bunch of unique atmospheres and aesthetics, so it does go above the generic shooter and the generic plot. Now, let's go ahead and fly into the gameplay portion of this Steel Empire review. As I mentioned in the preview, Steel Empire is a bit of a unique shooter that stands out in a wave of shooters from the early 90s. Most shoot 'em ups, the ship can only shoot from the front, but in Steel Empire, the pilot flies a plane with the ability to shoot in the front and behind with a simple press of a different button. This action comes in handy because enemies will be coming from both the front and behind your plane. But the game does it fair and it never feels overwhelming on the screen with enemies coming at you from both ends. I enjoy my fair share of shooters, and I thought this was one gimmick that stood out for Steel Empire. All of Steel Empire's levels take place in the sky, above the ocean, or in caverns, except for the final mission, which you are in orbit. I think Steel Empire helped differentiate itself from all the other space shooters by incorporating a different environment to go along with its alternate universe. During your missions, you'll be able to level up per se, by gaining experience. There will be certain planes that if you kill will drop little bubbles that give you bonus points, health, bombs, and experience. You'll need the experience to fill up your gauge, and when it's filled up, your bullets will become stronger and cause more damage against the bosses. You can also get 2 twin ships that mimic your movements and shooting. I loved having those little mimics tag along during my Steel Empire playthrough. When worst comes to worst, you'll have the option to deploy your super secret weapon, which is a giant bomb that will shoot lightning all over the screen. I didn't use this option too much except for when I came across 2 boss fights. The first time that I used the bomb was when I was in a tight space and needed the boss ship to back up, and the other was against the final boss when I just blasted him with 8 bombs that I had collected throughout the game. After reviewing so many different genres of games, I've discovered a couple things. 1, I suck at one-on-one fighting games, but I'm not that bad at shoot-em-ups. Steel Empire presented a moderate challenge, but I was able to overcome each level with just a few tries. I think the sprite of the plane that I was flying was super ugly, and most of the enemy planes were a bit ugly too. I'm just not a fan of the brown and the red color match. What does work is the beautiful sprites of the bosses and large enemy blimps and ships. It was so much fun to fly near a gigantic ship or a flying fortress and destroy it piece by piece. Vulnerable parts of the enemy will stick out and you'll have to destroy that segment of the ship before moving on to the others. During my Steel Empire playthrough, I did have the option to pick either an airplane or a blimp to pilot. The airplane is a lot quicker, but it does have less health. The blimp is slower, but it can take more damage. I never really tried out the blimp as I stuck to the airplane. I thought it steered well, and I didn't have any issues with the controls. There were a few moments of screen lag, but that actually helped me out as I could maneuver past the bullets a little bit better. Now, another bummer that I do have is that there aren't many cutscenes besides a small intro to Steel Empire at the very beginning of the game. You are briefed before each mission on where you are and who you're fighting and why, which I thought was a nice touch, but other than that, don't expect any cutscenes. Steel Empire brings a few unique elements to the shooter genre. I'm not a fan of steampunk, but the setting was nice to see instead of just stars in space. The ship I piloted was very ugly, but some of the enemy sprites, particularly the boss ships, were visually impressive. Being able to shoot forward and backward was a fun twist, and so was leveling up with experience. If you want a change of pace to the shoot 'em up genre, pick up Steel Empire. Steel Empire scores a 6.8 out of 10, making this an average game, but shoot 'em up fans, you should give this a spin. Gamers, that was my review of Steel Empire on the Sega Genesis that was released in 1992. Now I want you guys to do me a couple favors. 1, drop me a comment below telling me your favorite shoot 'em up on the Genesis, because I would love to check that out. And if you have played Steel Empire, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. To my surprise, this was, I believe, re-released on the Nintendo Switch not too long ago, which, I don't know, I find this game so random, so it was surprising to me that they picked it to release it or re-release it for the Switch. Anyway, while you're typing away your comments on your favorite shoot 'em up or your thoughts on Steel Empire, sub to this channel because it really helps me grow and you don't want to miss any game reviews that I have previously done. I've got a ton of them all the way from the 80s to the PS5. And the last game review that I just did is Shantae on the Game Boy Color. That one is a ton of fun, but that is a big challenge. So that's the video that's going to be coming up next. Gamers, thank you for watching, and make sure you play a video game today.